God, back with you again today, Tuesday morning, March the 14th. We are shifting gears for a couple of days to look at some essential keys that a believer must be aware of in order to ensure that they're part of the tribulation, of the rapture of the believers before the tribulation period begins. You do not want to go through the tribulation period. I can absolutely assure you that it is going to be the most hellish time on the face of this earth. If you think back with me for a moment to the days of Noah and the building of the ark and the fact that only 8 people were qualified to enter the ark. They were the only righteous people on the face of the earth. And then the floods came and everything was wiped out. The waters came for 40 days and 40 nights. Everybody drowned. Everything else was wiped out. And only Noah and his family and the animals on the ark survived. Now, you've got to think, I would hope, that there were good people on the earth at that time. But they had to be righteous people, not just good people. And that's what we're facing here as we get ready for this end time manifestation to occur. We have thousands, literally tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of good people on this earth. But does that qualify them? Does that qualify them to be raptured and taken out of this earth before the wrath of God is poured out? I think you'll see as we study that you can't just be a good person, you have to be a God person, you have to be a righteous person. And that standard is a lot higher than most people think. Now, in Matthew 24:12, Jesus said that one of the things that would precede the end of time and his coming for the church or for the believers, that's called rapture, would be iniquity and lawlessness would abound. It would be on what I call on steroids. It would be out of control. It seems like we're like that today. We're experiencing that in the world today. We're seeing it everywhere. Then Paul wrote the church over in Ephesus. That's the church pastored by Timothy. And he wrote 2 letters to Timothy. The first letter, chapter 4, says, the Holy Spirit says expressly, specifically, detailed it, that in these last days, these latter times, some believers are going to depart from the faith. They're going to walk away from the standards of God by giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons. And we're seeing this occur within the church of North America. In North America, the churches, the attendance levels are going down every year. The standards in the churches are being diminished every year. The acceptance of worldly things is increasing every year. You even see it in the demeanor. You see it in the quality of leadership. You see it in the dress styles that are now quite apropos in many church services. The standard has shifted. It's changed. What's caused this to occur? Deceiving spirits, seducing spirits, doctrines of demons, and so on. So let's talk about what we see occurring here in 1 Timothy chapter 4. Paul says some believers are going to give heed to seducing spirits or deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons. Here's what's amazing. Paul's writing a letter to Timothy in 64 AD. That's what the historical records in the Bible notations show us. In 64 AD, Paul writes Timothy to say, you better be aware of this. We've got deceiving spirits that have entered into the church, into believers' thinking. We have seducing spirits that have entered into their thinking. We have demonic doctrines that have entered into their thinking. This is only 34 years since Jesus ascended into heaven in Acts chapter 1, verse 9 and 10. This is only 34 years after the New Testament church came into existence. It's only taken 34 years for this infiltration of evil to come into the church setting, causing some people to leave. It amazes me to think that in 34 years, They've forgotten what Jesus Christ stood for. They've forgotten what the apostles stood for. They've forgotten what the apostles taught and preached. The men who were with Jesus, and we've got evil already occurring. Well, I call this cause and effect. And I want to just look very quickly. I'm going to run out of time and have to continue tomorrow. But what's the cause of this behavior in people? Well, it's the seducing spirits, the deceiving spirits, and the doctrines of devils or demons. It's someone in leadership who has decided to modify the scriptural content to maybe distort it and twist it and bring it down to a different standard. In other words, we could probably say it this way. They wanted to make it more acceptable to the world, so more of the world would come to their settings. But by making it easier, by modifying it, by distorting it, Paul calls it evil. Deceiving spirits, seducing spirits, doctrines of demons. You could probably, when you see this and understand this, you could probably see examples of this in your own settings, your own churches, your own regions of the continent here, and probably around the world for that matter. Well, I'm out of time, so let's get on this tomorrow, and we're going to look at the effect that it's had. I'll see you then. Thank you.